I'd like to call to order the Guilford Selectboard meeting of Wednesday, 11 October 2021. I'd like to recognize the public. I know Jeanette and Bill, and Dan is our highway supervisor. Welcome. And also I see Linda Lemke there on the screen. Hi, Linda. And the rules of procedure, we have rules of procedure that govern how the select board and the public interact with each other. The basic premise of those rules are that we're civil and that we raise our hands to be recognized. Are there any changes to the agenda order?
I have none.
Okay. The minutes, I assume that you've all read the minutes, and do I have a motion to accept them? Miranda, thank you. Do I have a second? Zahn, thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, I should take the roll then. Zahn? Rusty?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. That motion carries. Thank you very much. On to the highway. Sand bids. Is that going to be Danny or you, Peter?
That's going to be all the young man over there.
Okay, Dan.
Well, I put my sand out to bid. I got prices. In the past, I've said that the pits are getting kind of low on sand. What's happening? I got two different prices. Sossaman gave us a good price. It's going to be first come, first served. They'll sell it once they have it. And if they run out, then I can go to Zaluzny, so I'm going to split the two bids between half and half. Right now, my shed is full, so.
Any trouble getting those supplies? I mean,
The pits are running out.
Yeah.
I mean, they're running out of sand. I talked to Steve Zaluzny this morning, and his gravel bank down in Vernon where he gets the sand is just about gone, and it's really crappy sand. You've got enough to make, another good year of sand, but, so Sossaman's is at $8.50, and Zaluzny's is at $13, and Steve's not gonna come down on this price.
he's almost $5 more than,
Yeah.
wow.
That's because of sand, they're running out of sand.
Yeah, gee.
When that happens, I know of some towns in Massachusetts are using pea stone for sand, so that's
Wow.
even gonna be even more expensive.
Yeah, gee. Well, it's the sign of the times.
Yep, and then also I've talked to, the state hasn't come out with their salt bids yet, or salt prices, but I did talk to the distributor when we got our salt last year. He's just waiting to hear, so he can set the price, but he did tell me last week that the salt's gonna go up too.
Yeah.
He didn't know yet, but there's gonna be an increase.
Yeah, interesting.
And right now, I got about 3,000 yards in the sand shed, and I got over 100 ton of salt, so I get enough to start out with.
Good, I'm glad, so we're in really good shape. Anything else about the highway that you want to report to us?
We're over on Briggs Road, we're doing some stone line ditching, we did some culverts. I started cutting ash trees last week.
Oh.
We spent 2 days cutting trees, and I only got half the road done, whereas ash trees, I'm just taking the ones that are showing signs of dead, and believe me, there's a lot of trees, and it's especially dropping them, and then you gotta clean them up.
Are they dead because of the ash borer?
I haven't really seen any, but they're just dead. I mean, the real good, healthy ones I'm not gonna cut.
Right.
Because there is some really good, healthy ash trees.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to get the dead stuff out. We're also blowing leaves, cleaning culverts, and we'll be blowing leaves until snow flies, so.
Okay, well, anything else? So we all set with
Unless
that?
you guys got something you wanna ask me, that's about
Any
it.
questions for Dan?
So, Dan, you and the guys are cutting the ash trees yourselves?
Well, some of them I have to get a crane. They're real big and tall, and we've just been craning them. And then some of them we get a bucket truck and drop. Most of them, if we can tip them, we push them
Yeah.
over with the excavator and then clean them up, so.
Okay, anything else? Very good, thank you, Dan. On to the Conservation Commission, who is presenting?
I have the list and.
Are you going to present, Bill, or?
What do
Linda,
you
you're
say?
on mute.
Linda Hecker put together a rough list for Bill and me to present tonight. Bill, I did some additions. Could I read from what I did and then you can supplement?
Okay?
Good, and the select board would like to ask that we can keep this brief and concise, please.
So 5 minutes, are we?
Yeah, that's a good time frame.
Okay. Our monthly meetings continue to be held on the third Thursday of every month at 5:30. We switched to Zoom meetings at the start of the pandemic. We've had full participation, no problem switching over to that format in March 2020. We've had a few outdoor meetings outside the town office or under the school shelter, and we'll likely continue with hybrid meetings through the winter, and this is a good model for us tonight, what you're doing right here. We now have a full commission of 9 members. We also have 2 new committee members who attend our meetings regularly and join in our projects. We are a true working commission, with each member bringing valuable skills from bridge building and invasives pulling to research and writing skills. Individual members are also active in and report back on the work of other area conservation groups, including Wyndham Regional Commission, the Woodlands Association, the Green River Watershed Alliance, Guilford Preservation Inc., Guilford Cares, and the Wildlife Connectivity Group. We were recently asked by Wyndham Regional Commission to serve as a guide to the new Vernon Conservation Commission. 2 of their members observed our last meeting, which included time for a good exchange of ideas and information. We communicate regularly with the following Guilford organizations: the Road Crew. We continue to talk about the ash tree inventory and invasives control. With the Planning Commission on the community values mapping project we did in the town plan. With Guilford Recreation Commission for trail grant discussions and invasives plant removal at the Playscape. With Guilford Cares, we've planned walks for seniors with them. And we formed an ad hoc Weeks Forest Committee during 2020 that brought together representatives from the school, the library, the Historical Society, the Rec Commission, Springs Farm, and the Guilford Center neighborhood. And we all sat down together or came together at a Zoom meeting so that we all understood who was in charge of what and what sort of the order of responsibilities were. So we'll continue to meet maybe annually for that group. We've also begun new communications with Neighborhood Roots. We're talking about future mapping of agricultural land, and one of their members helped us with the land use section of the town plan. And we've been talking to the Guilford Historical Society about creating a record of Guilford's historical sites.
Fantastic.
We also continue to meet each year with a regional group of conservation groups. So our ongoing activities include the natural resources inventory that Patty Smith has been working on for more than 2 years. Her field work is mostly done. She's now working on the report and a set of maps, which we hope will eventually go on the town website. We continue with trail maintenance. We continue with invasive plant control. This summer we worked a couple places in town on a new invasive wild chervil. So we learned a lot about that one. We continue to reach out to the community with guided walks through Front Porch Forum, the Gazette, the town website, and so on. In the last year and a half, several of us have participated in webinars and virtual conferences that all the big Vermont organizations have always put on in person. And down here in Southern Vermont, we appreciate that because we've been able to be part of those conferences and really good programs. So that's been a good thing that's come out of the pandemic. I have a list of things we did in 2020 and that we've been working on in 2021. And if there's time, I'll just read them very quickly. We completed the ash tree inventory And Dan has a full set of maps that show the priority trees, the healthy trees for each road throughout town. We recorded and wrote about historic markers that we found along Guilford roads. And that kind of led to the discussion with the Historical Society about other things that we could record and take responsibility of together. We printed large format copies of the 2016 Guilford Road Map and have made these available in the town office and library and playscape. And our hope was some suggestions about how to get to know your town by just getting out and exploring, taking rides or walks. So these are available to pick up in different places in town. We wrote a 13-part series of cabin fever notes during the pandemic, encouraging people to get outdoors in safe ways and other ways they could participate in webinars or citizen science projects while they were at home. We wrote 2 grants. One was denied, but the second one we received this year, and that was to plant 3 trees outside the town office. And we worked with the school on that project, planning the placement and coordinating with the plantings that they're doing. In 2020, we wrote the natural resources section of the town plan, something we've done in the past. And this year, the Planning Commission asked us if we would also write the land use section. So we formed a committee, a person from Neighborhood Roots was on that committee too, and we submitted a draft to them, which I believe they're still reviewing, of that section. We vaccinated or coordinated vaccination of 2 trees that we thought were important, ash trees. One is outside the town office and one is in Green River Village, and that happened early summer. And for our ash tree work, we were awarded, let's see, Linda has, we received Tree Stewards of the Year award from the Vermont Division of Urban and Community Forests for the work that we did on the ash inventory and other work related to that. About 2 months ago, a small group of 3 of our commissioners built a beautiful bridge on the carriage trail. A culvert that MT3 had helped us install when we first restored the trail was failing. And so we came up with this new design. And if you haven't visited, do take a walk this fall on the carriage trail, because it's nice to see the volunteer work, and everything was donated. The black locust and all the labor. So Bill, did I forget anything?
I think you got most of it. The trees that we got, we also had help from the highway guys, and that was really appreciated. And one of the trees died, and we're going to meet on next soon, I guess, the next meeting. We're going to decide whether to replace it this year or next year, and with what. So we're hoping for an elm, but it looks like elm won't be until spring. There are other things that we can get this fall. So we'll have to decide that. The EAB is probably west of Route 5 right now. So we probably have it in Guilford. Let's see what else is in there. 2021. One of the things that I wanted to mention at a last meeting that you guys had on what to look for was, we're talking about in the town plan that we'd like to have small villages and lots of open space outside of developed villages. And it occurred to us that in order to do that, we really need sewer and water. The Algiers metropolitan area, if you will, is actually short of where the sewer probably should go. It should probably go down as far as Franklin Road and I think probably to the ice cream place on the Center Road. Here in Guilford Center, it doesn't include the school or the town offices, which if we're going to do a sewer system, it should include those. So probably up the workshop for the maintenance road crew. And the other one that was kind of a surprise to us was Weatherhead Hall Road is really well developed, and septic systems have been failing in that area. And the fairgrounds really needs sewer. So from the fairgrounds north would probably be another place to put sewer and water systems. At least, if we had some money, we should at least do a feasibility study for those areas.
I would suggest if the Conservation Commission, thank you, Bill, and thank you, Linda, for the great work that you've done and the amount of work that you've done, the Conservation Commission. It's really quite stunning, and we thank you. But if there's something further about sewerage that the Conservation Commission wants to be thinking about, you might want to write that up. And
Well, we wrote it up in the land use section of the town.
oh, okay, that's
So,
what it should be.
Maybe the parameters of how far we need to go aren't in there, but definitely the thought that it should happen in those locations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep, any questions for the Conservation Commission, or?
No, it's just that we're really lucky to have this Conservation Commission. They're
Definitely.
real leaders in the state.
Okay, Peter, Regional Emergency Management Committee appointment.
Yeah, actually, before we get to that, it occurred to me, we need to go back to the sand bids because the select board didn't actually vote on approval
for
of the sand
Okay,
bids.
so thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve the sand bids that Danny has introduced to us? Okay, Zahn, yes. Do I have a second? Veranda, second. Is there any discussion? Okay, I will take the roll then. Zahn?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. That motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay,
Thank
now we
you.
can go on to the Emergency Management Committee.
Yeah, so I'm talking to you actually now as the EMD for the town, not as town administrator. So here in the Wyndham region, we being the emergency management directors and mostly the fire chiefs have been meeting on a quarterly basis for several years now. Effective July 1st of this year, the state passed legislation that requires local or regional emergency management committees. And these committees are supposed to be made up of the EMD from each town in the region, as well as one appointee from a local first responder service. So my recommendation to the select board would be to appoint Jared to be the second member of this committee for Guilford. I've spoken with Jared. Jared, over the years, has been attending these meetings regularly with me, so it just seems like a
Do you need a motion for that?
I do.
Can I have a motion for that? Please, thank you, Veranda. Is there a second? That is to appoint Jared to the Regional Emergency Management Committee. And Rusty, thank you very much. Is there any discussion? Okay, I'll take the roll. Rusty?
Aye.
Zahn? Veranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye, that motion carries. Thank you very much. On to the audit adjustments and the draft audit approval, Peter.
Yes, so I shared with the select board the draft audit for FY 2020. In brief, hopefully you all read it, but in brief.
Oh, I memorized it.
Wow, well then you can present instead of me. Overall, the audit went very well, very smoothly, and the town, considering COVID, the town is in a very positive place. Due to the situation with the audit last year and some mistakes that were made, there's a few more audit adjustments that need to be made than we typically have this year. It doesn't mean we're in a bad position, doesn't mean anything negative, but just to correct a few errors from the past. I need, it could even be a joint motion from a select board member to approve the draft audit and the adjustments that were presented to you.
I so move. Do I have a second?
Sure.
Thank you, Miranda. Is there any discussion?
What is the action that will, is there an action that will need to happen following our approval?
So after your approval, then Penny and I will go and make the adjustments in NEMRIC. And with your approval of the draft audit, then it goes to the lead. So the auditing manager who has worked with us on the financial audit, she then submits it after select board approval to the lead auditor, i.e. the owner of the company, for his final review and proofreading, and then they will submit the final audit to the town for us to share with the public and to keep for our records.
Okay, any further discussion? I'll take the roll then. Zon?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
Richard, aye. Okay, thank you. The draft audit is approved. And Peter, the policy exception for the reimbursement without receipt.
Yes, so one of our commissioners quite happily did a bunch of work for the commission that the person is a part of, including bought a bunch of supplies for work they were doing, and unfortunately neglected to save receipts for the purchases that were made. The chair of that commission shared with me that they would like this person to be reimbursed, and in order for that to happen, the select board would need to make an exception to our purchasing policy, because our purchasing policy does state that we need to have proof of purchase.
Can you tell us the amount we're talking about?
$250.
Right.
And so there is visual proof by many people that the work was done, that the products were purchased. This person's very reliable and trustworthy person. And the chair of that commission is reminded all commissioners in the future that for such things that we need to have receipts.
Okay, do I have a motion to reimburse without receipt on this particular instance? Anyone?
Yeah, sure.
I'll make the motion.
Oh, thank you, Rusty. Okay, do I have a second? Zon is second. Okay, is there any further discussion?
Well, it does seem, I mean, I'm in favor of doing this, but isn't it usually possible to call the store and get a replacement?
So the individual paid in cash.
Oh, okay.
And the place in which most of the supplies were purchased provides handwritten paper receipts.
Okay, well,
So,
good.
I think we can go easy on this one.
Yeah, old
you know,
time.
I mean, it's a small amount, and it is being funded from that commission's annual appropriations.
No, I understand. I'm glad to have that clarification.
Any further comments? Okay, we'll take the roll. Zon?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. Thank you very much. So that person's going to get their $250. The Lucy Prince event. You want to tell us about the insurance
Yes.
rider?
So we have come up against a situation here in which the event unveiling the plaque that commemorates Lucy and Abijah Prince over at the Welcome Center, because it is happening on state property, the state is requiring insurance. This is nothing new for the town, and our insurance does cover town employees and or elected officials who would be at that event. However, it does not cover people from other organizations or the public. The state has been quite adamant, and since there are 2 other organizations that will be present with us who have been coordinating with the town, the state is requiring an additional rider that covers them as well. The unfortunate thing is neither of those organizations are established 501c3s, and so they cannot go out and purchase a insurance rider on their own. They have requested the select board to purchase a rider, which I shared the cost with you, and they have volunteered to reimburse the town if you are willing to purchase this.
Right,
for
and
this
what was the
event.
cost, Peter? And the rider is in the folder for tonight's
is.
meeting, yeah.
The quote is for $117.42.
Reimbursable.
Reimbursable.
Do we need a motion for that?
You definitely need it, since it is a special request. Normally, for purchases this small, the select board has given me authority to approve it, but since this is a unique event, and involves insurance and liability, I felt it important to present it to the select board.
Okay, you were motioning it? Do I have a second? I'll second it. Is there any discussion?
I'm glad that we're going to be able to do this. I mean, liability is such a stumbling block.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we have this workaround. And I hope that everybody who is watching the select board meeting will come to this event, which I have the pleasure to be the MC.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Any further discussion?
Who seconded that?
I did. Okay, Zon?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Richard, aye. Thank you very much. In regard to the second aspect of another select board member, Peter was originally going to go to this event, and I was thinking of going, but we're both going to do an ARPA webinar, which you're all invited to do. It's going to be a quite long one. It's on October 19th, so we're looking for another select board member to join Veranda representing the select board. If we can't have another select board member, then we shan't, but it's October 19th, and the time is
I think it's
11.
11.
11 a.m.
Starting at 11 a.m. at the Welcoming Center in Guilford. Anyone can do that?
I cannot.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Oh, Rusty can. Yay, Rusty. Thank you.
Rusty.
Yes.
I hope it will be enjoyable,
I think it's
Rusty.
going to be a great thing. Okay, now on to our updates. The ARPA information meeting review. I can speak to that. We had a disappointing number of folks there, but I think that for those who were there, it was educational. We presented basically what's on the town website, that information, the FAQs, the actual summation of the legislation, including the criteria that govern dispersing of the funds. So I thought it certainly was useful. But I think that we could, Sheila, who is the chair of the Finance Advisory Committee, and I have had discussions about, and it's Sheila's idea, about bringing a number of people together from, for instance, nonprofit organizations in the town or other groups to come together in a meeting with the Finance Advisory Committee to discuss what might be more substantial investments to put this money to use for. And it's certainly, we want to get as many ideas as we can. Remember that we have a long time to decide. So I would like to take this opportunity to ask my colleagues on the select board what they think about giving the Finance Advisory Committee the charge to go ahead and pull this meeting together, which could involve, I certainly would like to be there. And Rusty is the liaison to the Finance Advisory Committee, so he would be there, and I'm sure that the Finance Advisory Committee would allow any select board member who wanted to be there to be there. But because it's a committee and not a commission, and we have given a charge to the commission previously, I think that we should just say that we would like the Finance Advisory Committee to take the responsibility for putting this meeting together. So,
Do we need a motion for that?
Why don't we do a motion?
I think it would be safer.
So since I've been blabbing about it, I would like to motion that the select board, the Guilford Select Board, charges the Finance Advisory Committee with holding a public meeting on thinking about how to benefit Guilford with ARPA funding and big idea thinking.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Yes, Zon.
Thank you. I think this is a great idea. Do we want to consider putting an end date on our charge? When it might happen, what our expectation is about that?
That's a good idea. Sheila, what do you think about that? Having a date certain?
Thanks. First of all, I want to second your remarks, Richard, that it was a very helpful meeting last time. I thought we all learned a lot, so thank you and Peter for putting that together. Zon, to your question, I would like the Finance Committee to convene to see how long it takes to get some people together and to see what the process might be before we come up with an end date. I know you have a finite window in which individuals, you've invited people to apply for this current $315,000, but there's so many factors to include in what the town might consider as a whole that I don't want to say we're going to be finished before budget workshops are finished or something like that. Certainly in time for town meeting, I would say, or for the town meeting warrant if we needed to do. I mean, we'd have to explore what we need to do in order to move things forward. And there are lots of factors to take into consideration. So good point. We'll keep an end goal in mind.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So maybe by, and I'm just saying this roughly, the third meeting from now, you'll have a better idea of when at least you can you will have met with the Finance Advisory Committee and you will have a better idea of when this public meeting might be able to happen.
I would say definitely by the third meeting, yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other further discussion?
Just one point of note, just as a friendly reminder, since it's been a little while since the FAC has met, your warning should be, maybe your meeting should be warned, as should this public meeting you're going to presumably put together should also be warned.
Yeah, Peter, actually, I'm going to ask for your help in setting up a Zoom meeting because I have nothing, only a 40-minute meeting.
Okay, I'm happy to help.
It's going to have to be partly in, so we'll talk about how to appropriately convene that meeting and warn it in time.
Sounds great. I'm happy to help.
Thank you.
Okay, so we need to vote on this,
You do.
right? Okay, so any further discussion?
Well, I want to thank the Financial Advisory Committee for being our partners and everything.
Thank you, Veranda.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, Zon?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. Thank you. I think that's going to be of great benefit to our town. We just heard, for instance, the idea of SEWERS, SEWERS, and that is the only infrastructure thing, right, that ARPA can deal with is water and sewer?
Water, sewer, and broadband.
Water, sewer, and broadband. So,
The big three.
The big three. Yes, Sheila?
So I don't know anything about what the Conservation Commission has been doing on that, and I would love to get some notes or something from either Linda or Bill to help think through that part of it, because it's certainly important to discuss that for sure.
I could send you a copy of the land use section, which might help
That would be
organize.
great, Linda. Thank you so much.
She's been desperate for it.
We are.
Okay, anything else? I shall take the roll then. Zon?
You just did that.
Oh, I did.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
We're good.
I thought so, yeah.
We're finished
Double aye,
with that.
triple
Okay.
aye.
I did want to add under this particular agenda item that the applications are now open. The application is on the town website. It can be submitted digitally, but we also are going to have copies of the application here at the town office with Mr. Rood.
Yep.
So if anyone knows anyone who you think is eligible for ARPA funding, this is the time they have plenty of time. That the application isn't due until what, January, I think? So please spread the word about that. Also, I think, is the rubric on there, the evaluation
It
criteria?
is, yep.
So also we have put on the website with the application, what the select board, the criteria the select board will be evaluating those applications by. So it's all very transparent. We're telling anyone who applies, this is what we're looking for, basically, in your application, which should make it much more orderly and make it easier for the applicant to know how to answer the questions. Yeah, Sheila?
This may be an invasion of privacy, but is it going to be known who's applying and for what? Like, or the scope of the applications, or, I mean, without harming anybody's, personal information, it would be interesting to know what kinds of applications are coming in, or applications for what are coming in.
I think
And
that,
I have no idea. It might be
Yeah.
completely out of
well, I will just answer you.
information.
Subjectively, my personal opinion is that would not be appropriate. We might, at the end of the process, say these are the projects that were submitted. But I think because there may be, we're hoping that there will be individuals or individual businesses who will be applying, or organizations, in which we'll have to see their budgets and all that. It seems to me that should remain kind of confidential, but we could put that on the agenda to talk about next time, Sheila, if that's something that you'd like the select board to decide.
I mean, I know in several grants I've applied to in the past, that there's often been a checkbox where you give your permission to have your organization or your name used, in promoting that. And I think, as Richard touched on briefly, is because some individuals or organizations can use these funds for financial hardship, that's often a bit of a touchy subject for some people, so.
I understand and absolutely respect the need for privacy. I also wonder if some information about what organizations or individuals or what kinds of applications are coming in would trigger those of us who are thinking about it to maybe encourage other people to apply that we might not have thought of otherwise. So I'm trying to think how this information might be useful
Right,
in
well,
a way
why don't
we
we,
haven't anticipated.
if you have some suggestions for that, why don't you send them along to me, and then we'll also have the select board think about this next time, because that was one part of our strategy that we did not take into consideration when we were thinking about this.
And possibly your other FAC members may have some suggestions for you as well.
Okay.
Zon,
Have you talked to them, Peter?
Pardon me?
Have you talked to any of them?
Aside from the other one on the meeting with us tonight, no.
Okay.
Zon, did you have a question?
No, I will write to you, Richard, with a suggestion.
Oh,
about how to
good.
approach it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, and then, so the question that was on the agenda about scheduling another meeting, I put it that way, and that's what I had wanted to discuss. Now, the meeting house update. I don't know, Janet, are you here to do that? And I know that Peter, did the architect come today? You were going to...
Yes. Where, did I miss this on the?
Yeah, meeting house update.
Oh, yep, sorry. Yes, the architects came today and did a walkthrough of the meeting house. They were there for a little over an hour. I wasn't there with them the full time. And they're going to do an official write-up for the select board of their analysis of the situation, both of the building as a whole, as to whether or not it's something that they would recommend the town taking over, and then they're going to have a separate section on their opinion as to whether or not it would be feasible to, or advisable to consider it for use as a future library.
Oh, good. I'm glad they're coming at it from two directions.
I have a question.
Yes.
So is this within the scope of their contract so far, or is this a separate sort of request from us to the architects to do this, which will be out of the predictable budget?
So
I know they were coming to town anyway, so we tried to piggyback with that.
We did. So they will be sending us a separate invoice
Okay.
for the hour today plus whatever it takes to write it up. But as Richard noted, because they were already coming to town to do some further documentation
Right.
at the library, we will not have to pay their travel costs, but we will have to pay their administrative costs. So
Very
it's greatly reduced from what it would be, but we still have a small fee that's outside of our contract with them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Jeanette, did you want to?
Actually, I think other people attending would like to say something, but I just have two questions. I'd like to know the meeting house square footage is about 2,300 square feet. I don't know the square footage of the library as it now stands and what the final square footage would be of the planned expansion. I think it's helpful to know what we'd be getting for the $900,000 that we're going to spend to expand under the current plan.
Wow, 900,000?
No, that wasn't, that is.
Oh, that was in the
Nope.
paper. That was
No,
wrong.
that's not correct.
Okay,
No, that's not- it's-
600.
Yeah.
Oh, this
It's-
is- the paper said it was 900.
It's
That's wrong.
That's
I
completely
didn't
wrong.
see it there, but it's not nearly 900.
No, the
600.
last estimate I saw was approximately 600,000.
Yeah.
So what
And
is,
the library has half of that in a state,
Yeah. well, what would the final square footage be of the library expansion?
Don't ask me about square footage. Somebody else will have to take that. I have no idea.
Well, that also hasn't been fully defined yet because we're still in process with the architects
Oh, yeah.
on the design.
All right, that's all I have to answer.
Richard Sheila has her hand up.
Who, Sheila, yes?
Am I off mute? Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to, I did not realize that the town was going to get this information from the architect. And I think you have already asked the finance committee to weigh in and make some recommendations. And I think we cannot discuss that without having this report in front of us.
The report from the architect.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, sure. We'll get that to the Finance Advisory Committee.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Peter, that would show in the minutes, right?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you very much. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the warrants. Veranda, you usually take care of that.
I shall do so.
Good night, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
You
Okay.
wanted to speak to the meeting house issue.
What, you did?
No, other people on the call wanted to have.
I didn't
anything to
see, I
say.
asked.
Yeah, there's no other hands up
I
at this
didn't see any
time.
hands. Yeah.
Did
There's a hand.
Let's move on.
did you want to speak? No. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, as usual, I move that we pay the following warrants. Payroll week 10/3/21 for the sum of $5,786.57. Payroll week 10/10/21 for the sum of $5,558.77. Expense warrant number 2207 for the sum of $38,547.79 for a total of $49,893.13.
Do I have a second? Zahn seconds. Is there any discussion or comment? There being none, then we will take the vote. Zahn?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
Richard, aye. That carries. Thank you very much. Now,
Richard,
yes.
this is Ann. I can't figure out how to get that little hand to raise
Oh.
my hand. I forgot. I looked at reactions, but I
There should
couldn't
be a
find it.
hand icon there.
I know, I can't see it. Anyway, can I just ask this is a little backup question. I had been under the impression that there was going to be a discussion, not just about the meeting house and the architectural costs, but about, the connection between the library and the meeting house. But it seemed like that went by pretty darn fast. Is that going to be at another meeting
Well,
once the architect?
We discussed that at the previous meeting, and
Yeah.
I think it will be very helpful to have this architect report to
Okay.
inform our discussion in the future.
Thank you.
But we did have that, we did spend about a half an hour or 45 minutes at
45
the,
minutes.
45 minutes at the last select board meeting.
I understand.
Yeah.
I just had heard about it and I had seen the meeting house on the agenda, so I thought there was going to be more discussion.
Right.
But it sounds like there will be more information from the architectural study, at which point there will be more discussion.
Right. And then the Finance Advisory Committee is going to get a hold of it, and who knows what's going to happen then.
Yeah, all hell's going to break loose.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for all your comments and questions. I think we.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome, thank you. So I would like to motion that the Guilford Select Board move into, enter into executive session to, per Vermont State Statute 31383, and to invite Peter. Do I have a second? Okay, is there any discussion?
Yes, did I get a thing to click on to go to it? I didn't see it if I did.
No, because we're going to use this meeting, and whoever's not on the select board is going to be put in the waiting room.
Can I
Okay,
ask you the purpose of the executive session? Usually you state the purpose when you're talking about going into executive session.
It's to discuss a personnel matter.
Thank you.
Okay,
Miranda
so
We have
seconded.
to.
we need to
Vote
vote
on
on
it.
it, right? Zahn?
Aye.
Rusty?
aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. Thank you very much. You're welcome to join us when we come out of executive session.
So everyone who is not a select board member is going to be put in the waiting room, and then BCTV will stop recording temporarily while we are in session, and then we will come back to session. And hopefully you will be there to join us.
Nice to see you. Come back. The Select Board of Guilford has exited executive session. It is 7:32 PM and we have taken no action. Okay, on with our agenda. Communications, Peter.
We have none this
All
week,
right.
and your action summary from your previous meeting is that you tabled the Energy Committee update, and I have yet to hear anything from them. You approved putting out an RFP for an attorney. You approved the grants and aid letter of intent. You approved an exception to the purchasing policy, and with that awarded the siding bid for the garage to Griffin Construction. And Richard, Zahn, and myself were to plan the agenda for the ARPA info meeting, which we already went over. Unfortunately, due to the detailed nature of tonight's meeting, I don't have a list of actions, but once I get the video from this kind gentleman here, I will put them together and share them with select board members.
Okay.
Richard,
Yes, Zahn.
may I move that we adjourn?
Oh, do I have a second for that?
Oh, yeah.
Is there any discussion? All right, I shall take the roll. Zahn?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. The meeting is adjourned, and thank you very much. A good meeting was had by all.
Thank you. Good night,
Good
everyone.
night, everybody.
Good night, thank you.